I'm Manaswini Bandi. I'm the director of Sharwani Ventures and Avenues, as well as the founder of Mahara Prep and Daycare. My education, I've did my BTech in electrical engineering, and then I moved to USA for pursuing my master's in electrical engineering itself. And then later on, I worked as an electrical engineer there in US itself for 4 years. And then I moved back to India to take over my family business. And then I've launched my preschool. Coming to the family background, dad and mom, they've come from a very small background. Dad was a diploma electrical engineer, and then he started his career in Allwyn back 35 years back, I guess. And then later on, he took up the real estate, and then today we are into a big group called BRC Group. Dreams in childhood. So very interesting story is Chinnappudu they put me in a serial where I was a childhood actor. I was a child actress. Okay, so that was imprinted in my head back then, and I wanted to become an actress or wanted to something related to films or fashion was what I was intrigued always. But then as I grew up and then as I moved to US and then once I got back, I realized that real estate and preaching education is what my passion is about, and that's what I'm doing right now. Family pressures. Very interesting question. I think everybody will have family pressures for numerous reasons, right? So for me particularly, I didn't have any family pressures, but maybe once I'm done with my inter or when I was looking for further education, probably I would have chosen a different background because of the interest towards acting career or fashion industry, but that was not the case. Probably because back in my head I know that my parents would not agree for that concept or joining a fashion college or pursuing acting. So that's why I took an engineering background. So that probably could be a pressure, but that's not something that came externally. But that was something that I know internally that they will not accept. So that could be a pressure. Society remarks. If you're a celebrity or if you're not a celebrity, there is always a perception about you in the society. It's not just a celebrity that has a society remarks. Right? When it comes to society, your extended family or your own family, your cousins, everybody has their own perception regarding who you are or what you are or why are you like this, right? So that is always there. And then when it comes to me personally, the society remarks, I'm not the person who would really think about what society thinks about me, but maybe why am I not married yet is something which everybody's question is, why, what is the important, what is it that is more important for her than getting married? This is the question that I see very often coming, across to me. But again, it doesn't matter. Well, like I've said, irrespective of who you are, there will always be a society perception about who you are and what you are. So if you keep thinking about it, you will not move ahead at all in whatever you want to do. Let it be your personal life, your professional life, or your family, your friends, whatever it is. Once it is stuck in your head that somebody is thinking about me like this, you will not have that freedom of thought, or you won't enjoy your life. So I don't think anybody should really care about what somebody else thinks about you. Rather, you should be concerned about what you yourself think about yourself. Well, I would say, I've made up my mind that I have to go to US and I have to do my master's, and then I have to, work and get that exposure out of my comfort zone once I finished my engineering. If I didn't take that, if I hadn't taken that step, probably by now I would have been married and had kids, because by the end of engineering, I was already, I had a match in hand where my parents were really happy and they wanted me to get married. But I've told them I need some time, and these are my dreams, and I want to pursue higher education because I was good at studies. Another reason why I wanted to go to US was not just the education, but the fact that I will get more exposure outside of my comfort zone or outside my family. And the reason why I've worked there for 4 years was also that I wanted to be independent and then learn the hardships of the life. Always having a family support doesn't really evolve a person. So when you're out of your comfort zone, when you don't have anybody to depend on yourself, is when you will start knowing what life is. You will also start knowing what are the hardships to go through that life. You will know the financial independence, and then you'll know how to manage your finance. And many more. You will know a lot more about the people that are around you. How they, what do they think, what do they talk, and who are your friends, who are not your friends. All this will only come once you have exposure outside your family or outside your comfort zone. So that is what I wanted in the first place, and that is so engineering. Right at the end of engineering is when I took a big leap, and I've told that I'm not ready for marriage and I wanted to pursue further ahead. పెద్దవాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే అండి, వాళ్ళు అన్నీ చెప్తారు అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఈజ్ for a fact it is good for us. Chappalante, your mom and dad especially, I'm not talking about anybody else apart from your own core family. Your mom, dad, probably a brother or a sister, right? Whenever they tell you something, it is for sure, they think or they want good for you. So that is why they keep telling you, ఈరోజు అమావాస్య ఇది చేయొద్దు, or ఈరోజు మంగళవారం గోల్ కట్ చేసుకోవద్దు. These all are the things which inherently they already, they have learned it from their parents. So, and they think that is good. So that's why they tell you to do it. But I understand, our generation today, we are way fast forward, or we think that, there is no backup, or there is no reason for these kind of preachings. it could be not just a preaching which is like goal cut cheskodu anedi kaadu, but sometimes they'll tell you do this for your career good, or some astrologer told that 5 is not a good number for you. So ivanni entante that comes out of a good heart, but at the same time, for this generation or for coming generation, when it is not backed up by science, or when it's not backed up by evidence, that is when we'll get irritated, or so that lack of evidence is what is missing for this generation. But again, it's always good to listen to them, as long as it is not coming in your way to do something that you've already decided to do. Boldness. So it's very simple. When you want to do something, for suppose, right, there will be 100 people saying no to that. Either they'll say, anta manchi job undi, why are you leaving the job, and why do you want to take up some small project or some business, whatever it is. Or they'll say, don't wear this dress, wear this, it's not appropriate. Anything, like I've said, there are 100 people to tell 100 things to one person. But when you decide on doing something, and when you do it, irrespective of what every other person is telling you, and take a stand on what you believe and move forward, that is what boldness is. About myself, like I've said, with my parents, during right after my engineering, that is when I started talking, or that is when I've realized, that was a very important moment in my life, right? So if I didn't talk then, today my situation would have been very different. So maybe when I was 21. This again comes back to the same example that I've given. Their reaction was, they were very considerate, because the fact that, as a child, I was very good and I've never said no. And the day I started talking for myself, and when I said no, this is what I want and I don't want that, it was not really a shocker for them, but they've also realized that why am I saying no? They were very considerate, and we had a long discussion about why I wanted to go and why I wanted to do things the way I want to, and why I didn't want to get married then. So it was a group discussion that we had between me, my mom and dad. So it was very open, and I liked the fact that it was open. So that gave me a freedom from there, for me to make choices for myself and express it to my parents, saying that this is what my idea is, or this is what I want to pursue ahead. Because back then, if they had reacted very differently, or if they had told me that no, you'll have to get married, or there is no further education that you're going to do, or if they weren't that considerate, probably I would have closed my doors in terms of expression with them. Well, everybody's success is very, very personal, I feel. If you go by the book, if you achieve something that you aim for, is what is called success. And I believe that, because see, what happens is there will be million people around you. Right, so what they'll keep telling is, oh, she's successful, oh, he's successful, or he's rich, or she's well known, or she has a fame. So all these, for everybody else around you, is just what you are. But for you, what success should be is, so when you're doing something, or when you're starting a project, you will have a reason to start something. right? So either it could be a job, or it could be a business, or it could be whatever small projects that you're taking. You have an intention behind doing that project, right? So when you hit that project right with the intentions that you've started, that is what success actually means to a person. You know, when that is successful, the byproducts of that is money, fame, or social circle, whatever it is. But for a person, a success should be, you know, what you have started, why you have started, and while achieving that goal, have you still maintained the roots of your initial thoughts? So that is what success to me is. Well, I think, see, it's always good to have a balance. That's what I personally feel. One can't say career or one can't say family, because you know, if your family is not really supportive, for example, or you're married or you're not married but you'll have to stay with your parents, right? When you're working long hours, extended hours, probably 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever it is, depending on that day, and if they are not supportful, right, and if they keep calling you, or maybe once you go back home, if they make a mess out of it, saying that why are you working so late, right, then the whole peace in your career is gone. At the same time, whole peace in the family is gone, probably for that one night only. So family supporting you in whatever you're doing is very important. At the same time, you know, you giving time to your family so that they don't keep complaining, saying that you always work, is necessary. So there should always be a balance. So I can't pick either a career or family, but I always try to balance, which I'm still learning to do. Maybe, you know, back then everybody knows girls didn't have options apart from getting married, and have now things changed, right? Today I would say it is pretty much the same, that, you know, a girl can do anything that she wants and a boy can do anything that he wants. But at the same time, when it comes to girls, you know, that protective nature of parents always, or a husband, you know, whoever it is, it's always maybe a 20% higher than for a boy or for a husband, right? So with that protectiveness or possessiveness or that caring, you know, comes these restrictions of where are you, what are you doing, you know, why are you studying this, why aren't you doing this? So these questions always peeps in for a girl more than a boy, is what I feel. But it doesn't mean boys don't have that those questions, or if do they have a freedom to do what they want to do or what they want to study today? I don't think so, because you know, I have seen a personal example, you know, who wanted to do study IPS or go for a police training, something, I don't remember exactly, right after his 12th standard. But he couldn't do it because, you know, his parents wanted him either to be an engineer or a doctor. So it's really not biased for a boy, for a girl especially, and it's not that easy for boys as we think so. But at the same time, you know, yeah, that 1-2% bias is still there, I feel. Well, I am not very religious, that is for sure. When it comes to spirituality, for me, see, I fast every Monday, and I've been doing it from past 10 years. So I fast for a good 24 hours. So that is Sunday night 12 o'clock to Monday early morning 12, that is Tuesday early morning 12 a.m. I don't eat anything. Well, initially this started with the love and interest and the respect towards Lord Shiva, and it still continues. It's the same. But when I started, I used to always go to the temple, and I always felt the need, going and praying and కొబ్బరికాయ కొట్టడం ఇవన్నీ చేస్తేనే that fast is fulfilled అని చెప్పి అనుకునేదాన్ని. As I grew or whatever it is, I've learned that being truthful, being dedicated to what you do is more than enough to impress a god, or to for you to get your blessings, rather than going and spending hours and hours in temple. So this is just perfectly my view. So for me, spirituality is something that if you want to do something, do it with dedication. And if you believe in something, believe in it with complete dedication, without any questions. And yeah, I spiritually believe Lord Shiva. Challenges of women entrepreneurs is what I can talk about. Well, see, I am in a family business, and I am also doing ISB MFAB. So it's an MBA in family business. So with so many interactions that I am seeing, especially with women and also men, the challenges of the business are pretty much similar across the industries. You talk about manufacturing industry, real estate, or education, whatever field it is. When we sit and talk regarding any issue, it is same across all the industries, and it is same across all the platforms. What comes as a challenge for a woman entrepreneur is, I can talk about myself, especially in the real estate field. So as you all know, this is a field which is completely man show, right? So when I first started 2 years back, well, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what real estate was. I just got back from USA. I only know how to do a 9 to 5 job and take Saturday and Sundays as a weekend and off. But then when I started this, first of all, everything was new. From being a working woman of 9 to 5 job to all of a sudden be entrepreneur and take up the roles and responsibilities itself was new. But like I've said, the exposure that I had gave me so much confidence that I can push forward and take this ahead. In terms of administration or finance or whatever other aspects of that are required for you to take up the company, was not challenging at all. But what was more challenging, was making sure the people listen to you. Was very challenging. So what I meant by is, so if we are in a room, we are in a board meeting, or we are in a room of 10 people, so let's say 2 of them, or it was most of the time it was me who was the only female in that meeting conference room. So what used to happen is, half the time they wouldn't let you talk, or they would be so loud that you really don't want to talk. And then maybe you get a chance to say something, then even if it is right, the most surprising part is that if it's right, or even if you make sense out of it, or if you give a solution which nobody else were able to give a solution for, interestingly they wouldn't listen, or they wouldn't care to act as if they've listened also. And what happens after 5 minutes or 10 minutes later, the same thing is repeated by some other guy, and then it is accepted or it is uploaded, right? So that is where it was a shocker, number one. And then later on, I've realized that this is how this industry is, for men to accept that women are coming into real estate and they are handling real estate is something which they weren't believing back then. But now, after a year or two, things have changed. In this industry, there is a lot more to change, but at least they're starting to listen and appreciate what you're doing. So I hope there'll be a lot more change, and many more females would be interested in taking up real estate and construction. No. Well, actually, when I came back in 18, I really took 2 or 3 months break from everything, because number one, I just got back from US, and for me it was very difficult to adjust to the environment here. So after 3 months, I think 3 or 4 months I've joined. Maybe the struggle period was there for about 6 to 8 months, right? Especially for me to understand what this industry was, and the number one, the challenges, like I've said earlier, that I was facing, and then the fact that the complete industry itself is new. I was questioning myself, why did I even do electrical for as in masters, and then I did my BTech and masters, and why did I do that was a big question for me, because I've moved back to real estate, and probably if I did civil, it would have been more helpful for me. But later, once I've adjusted, I've learned things, and once people started appreciating or listening, for a matter of fact, right, then now I enjoy doing it. And given a chance also, I wouldn't move back to US, or I wouldn't go back to 9 to 5 job. Rather, I would take up this company and my preschool to another level. That is the aim right now. Well, humanity, it's as simple as just being kind to anybody and everybody, right? So if they need help, and if you are in a situation that you can help, and if you help, that is humanity. And when is it needed? I think it is needed every single day and every hour and every minute, because see, just doing, for example, CSR activities once a year, and you call it your socially responsible, or you conduct a fundraiser event or whatever it is, and you say this is for COVID people, and then you forget about doing it, doesn't make really sense, right? So rather keep smiling, and then let people around you breathe, and then it's as simple as saying thank you to anybody that is doing your work, even for your employees. Right, so that is what I feel. I mean, you'll have to really be open and kind, and especially keep smiling. That's what is required. Well, I personally feel that forgiving and forgetting, I think everybody should follow that. The only reason for it's not that you're a very nice person and you are forgiving them, or you'll say, okay, I forget about it and let's move on. It's not about that, but for a fact that it is good for your own mental state, right? So for example, you have a fight with your friend, and depending on the level of the fight, you either forget or you forgive. And if you don't do it, it keeps lingering in your head, right? That and rest of the day you will not be doing anything, or probably for the week or whatever it is, until you get the solution out of it, right? So either you both sit and talk and move ahead, or if you can forget and then move ahead, well and good. If not, just forgive and say goodbye, right? But just get it out of your head. that is the priority, because otherwise your mental health and eventually your physical health will also hurt. But when it comes to forgetting, whatever somebody else has done for you or done with you, you might forget and forgive. But for example, if you don't learn a lesson out of it, if somebody is not treating you right, but then you will forget or forgive them. But if you don't learn a lesson out of it, then you wouldn't know how to be careful around people, or you wouldn't know how to be careful around that particular person, right? So no, you shouldn't forget anything, but you should always forgive, only to keep your mental health right. That actually depends totally on what kind of a person you are marrying and what kind of a family you are getting into. For suppose, it's a very simple example. See, you started a project and then all of a sudden your parents wants you to get married, and you really like the person, and the family likes you, and everything is gelling up so well, and you want to get married, but this project is there on the side which might take sideline. Now you don't want to sideline it, or probably you want to wait for a marriage, or maybe you can think both will work at the same time. See, a person getting married to other person is totally depending on how understanding the both of them are, how well known each other are with each other. So what I meant by that is, so if other person knows what your priorities are, and the same with you, if you know what your priorities are, and if they are set straight on the day one, right, eventually you will not have any problems. So that is when the marriage will bring lot of power into your career or your life, or whatever that you're doing, because you understand each other so well, you know your priorities right, and that when you know the priorities, you wouldn't keep expectations out of the marriage. So is it bad to keep expectations? No, but at the same time, keeping unrealistic expectations is something where the marriage starts failing. So when two people understand each other, they can bring in lot of power and lot of love, emotions, and togetherness, both for the family and for the business. Well, I should say my dad, because the way he had constructed his career is what is amazing. He started his career with earning 300 rupees per month. That was back in 1990 or 1989, something like that. And then, today building up the empire of real estate, which we've been in the industry from past 20-25 years, is very appreciative. So I like to learn a lot of things from him. But at the same time, that comes within the family. Whereas I give a lot of credit for the way I am today, or whatever I am doing, or whatever my ideology is to the fact that I have moved out of the country, and then I have seen different cultures. I've experienced different people, and then worked with different kind of people. One is from Jamaica, one is from Mexico, and maybe one is a proper red American. So after being with these people, for about 4 to 6 years, the one thing that I've learned for sure is, no matter what, whatever you want to do, if you want to do it, then just go ahead and do it, is what I've learned. So with that comes a lot of experience. So everything outside, being independent and whatever I've seen there is what I am today. along with what I've seen and how I've seen my dad grow. See, number one, for me, the stress buster is either spending time with my friends or just hitting a gym or maybe going and playing some badminton or whatever it is, that is physically active for me is what my stress buster. Whereas coming to the question of, you're completely failed and how do you pull up yourself, it is easier said than done. It's really not that easy, when you experience a failure, just that you grab yourself and say it's okay and then move ahead. I won't say it is easy, but at the same time, one thing what you'll have to always remember is from that failure, there's a saying, if you've seen a failure, then you're not starting from scratch again, but you're starting from a lot of experiences that you've already had, right? So that experiences will give you a lot better motivation and lot better ideas, and you will know what to do and how to do it because previously you've done something and that didn't work out. So always keep that in mind, that a failure always leads to success, but then pulling up your sleeves and say, I've got the experience now and I know what didn't go well and what went well. With this experience, I will start over is what the mindset should be. And then pulling up the socks right after your failure, it could be difficult. So maybe you can distract yourself maybe for a month or two and then do something else. Maybe follow your passion and then, do whatever that eases your mind out and then get back to it. So the challenges that I overcame are... Number one, like I've said, right after engineering, I wanted to do my master's and I stood up for myself. And number two, like I've said previously, women entrepreneurs issue is hardly any people will listen. How do you make them listen is you first get the experience and then you have to be confident in what you want and what you do. That is what first speaks. Right? That is one challenge that I've really faced. And then like how I overcame, I've learned, what this industry is, what is it necessary for me to move ahead. And then it started making sense to me, and that is when I confidently put myself out in front of everybody else. So that is number two. And then I've recently started a preschool. Okay, it is launched it's launched in August 2021, all right, but the project has been going on from past 2 years. So I was supposed to launch in April 2020, which didn't happen, but I've started working on this preschool from 2019, maybe June, July, somewhere in those times. So 2019 June, July, and I've opened in August. So it's almost been 2 years, right? So the challenges that I faced there was number one, I had a lot of issues with my landlord or whatever it is, which I really can't talk about. And then and then I thought, okay, fine, things have settled down, but now I'll have a chance to open it in April 2020. And then again, pandemic hit, right? So I couldn't open it then. And then in August, when I wanted to open, right after we finished the lockdowns in 2020 and we started working a little bit here and there, I wasn't able to find manpower because most of the IT industries, they've left to their villages or hometowns or whatever it is. So whoever that was here, I was not able to find efficient enough manpower or human resources, I should say. Right? But was I discouraged? Yeah. because the fact that the entire project had been for 2 years was a discouragement. But did I lose hope? No, because that was something that I really wanted to do at any cost. Whatever happens, I wanted to do it. So today it is up and running successfully, right? But were there any moments that I felt low? Yeah. There were days where I cried that why did I even take up this project, that it is, it's like oka type in the okay, I'm done with this, I can move on ante that move on phase lo there is some or the other hurdle. Basically oka type in the landlord to issue అయిపోయింది ante next I have an issue with somebody else, and then next I have issue with not finding manpower. దాని తర్వాత ఏంటి అంటే manpower or human resources దొరికితే they are not staying because of whatever reason, right? So every step was a hurdle, but I took it up as a challenge that why is every step a hurdle? So I've only realized that it is just testing my patience, that how badly I wanted this. Otherwise maybe I would have given it up once the pandemic had hit, right? Because everything was there, everything was set, and I knew okay fine, April 2020 is when we are going to launch. This was in my mindset. And then the things didn't work out. I was really shattered at that point of time that why are things happening to me, naake enduku jarugutundi ilaga ani that thought was always there. But it's just that I pulled up my sleeve every day, every single day, saying that no, I want this, and this has to be done, and this has to come out, and this is my baby. So that dedication should be there, and it's really hard. There'll be times where you want to cry, or where you seek out for a shoulder, or you want to give up and say okay, no, I'm not doing anything, forget about this, I'll go back to 9 to 5 work. Ala chala thoughts vastayi. It's how mentally strong you are is what makes up the story. And what I would say is, God wouldn't give anybody an opportunity that they only can handle. He always tests, right? He always tests the faith, and he always tests how much you want some particular thing. So whenever the hurdles are there, just think that you are on a right path, and you are only being tested only to make sure that you want that particular thing definitely, and how much are you willing to do to get to that point. Just keep that in mind, that yeah, these hurdles that you get is the way forward for the success. Well, I'll talk for myself. See, faith is something, how should I say that, you have a faith in God antaru, or you have faith in your parents antaru, or you have faith in your friends antaru, whatever it is, it's just that nammakam anamata. Okay, everything will go right, and or I believe in so and so God, and he is always there for me. And so that is something which I always believe, that things will happen for good, whatever it is. See, for example, if I had started my preschool in April, it would have been shut by now because the pandemic had hit. And the fact that I couldn't open, and the pandemic was not the reason. Basically, I couldn't open because everything else around it were not supporting. I wanted to finish certain things at certain point of time, and they were getting delayed. I couldn't open, right? So it didn't happen, and it happened for my own good, right? So that is what a belief or faith is, that things nakanta manchi jarugutundi anedi oka namakam pettukoni if you move forward. But also keep this in mind, that you will have to be a very good person by heart. So ante you are rude to somebody and you think things will happen ఫర్ అ బెటర్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ మై లైఫ్ అని అనుకుంటే అవ్వకపోవచ్చు. So faith is something that I always believe, whereas coming to destiny, well, it's a very tricky question. So you are destined to do what you're supposed to do. That is, again, I believe. But at the same time, can't you change it? Yes, you can. But see, ఒక రాత, ఒక డెస్టినీతో if you're already born and if you really want to change it, imagine how much effort that you will have to put in to change that destiny. So that is where your dedication, faith, hard work, whatever hurdles that you inhibit, and avanni meeru cross aithe you will be able to change your destiny. Otherwise, wherever you are, I think you will be stuck. Number one, I hate them. When people can't take responsibility, that is something which is a big no in my life. Or if there is any certain person like that, who starts playing blame game, that is something which I can't accept. Number one. Whereas coming to your own self, for example, I want to say, okay, I didn't finish this project, or I am late for today for somebody else, or వాళ్ళు రాలేదు కాబట్టి నేను చేయలేదు, or వాళ్ళు ఫోన్ ఎత్తలేదు సో కాబట్టి I don't have an answer. So this blame game, దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే you will be slowed down. Okay, and you won't also know that you are slowing your own career down, or your own time down, or your own mental health down, because you're so used to that blame game that you think that నాకు ఏ పని ఎందుకు జరగట్లేదు అంటే వేరే వాళ్ళ వల్ల ఆ అబ్బాయి ఇలా చేయలేదు, ఆ అమ్మాయి ఇలా చేయలేదు, ఆ అమ్మాయి పనికి రాలేదు, వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఇస్. సో దీనివల్ల నాకు ఈరోజు ఇలా ఉంది అని మీరు డిసైడ్ అయిపోయి, ఆర్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్ విత్ ద కెరియర్. సో మై బాస్ ఇస్ నాట్ లెటింగ్ మీ గ్రో, సో నాకు బదులు ఇంకెవరెక్కువ ప్రమోషన్ ఇచ్చారు, ఆర్ నా ప్రాజెక్ట్ నేను చేయాల్సింది ఇంకెవరికో ఇచ్చారు. సో ఇలా దిస్ బ్లేమ్ గేమ్ అనేది ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ యువర్ మైండ్, ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ గెట్ రిడ్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్, బికాజ్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ టేకింగ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ ఫర్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు మీ బాస్ ఇంకెవరికో వెళ్ళి ప్రమోషన్ ఇచ్చారు అని చెప్పి దాన్ని ఒక 100 మందికి చెప్పే బదులు యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ టేక్ అ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ, గో టాక్ టు యువర్ బాస్ అండ్ సే, హే, ఐ యామ్ యాక్చువల్లీ eligible for that promotion, so naakenduku raaledu. And if you take that step, always you will find an answer. Ante kani vere valla meeda you start blaming, it will not work. So keep that in mind when you're moving forward always, or try to keep a note. That's the best way to do it. Always journal something when something is not going wrong, and you write a reason. రైట్. సో ఈరోజు ఏదో మీ బాస్ అడిగారు, ఆర్ యూ హ్యావ్ అ డెడ్ లైన్ టు సబ్మిట్ టుడే, బట్ యూ నాట్. సో దానికి మీరు ఏదో ఒక రీజన్ చెప్తారు కదా మీ బాస్కి, ఓకే నా కింద ఎంప్లాయ్ చేయలేదో, ఆర్ నాకు ట్రాఫిక్ లేట్ అయిందో, వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఇస్, రైట్ డౌన్ దట్ రీజన్. మేబీ డూ ఇట్ ఫర్ 1 week అండ్ సీ హౌ మెనీ రీజన్స్ యూ విల్ కమ్ అప్ విత్. దానివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే you can go back and see what had exactly happened for that 1 week. And if you think for a second, దాంట్లో ఒక్క పనైనా if I had taken the responsibility and if I had finished అయ్యేదా అని ఒక్కసారి ఆలోచిస్తే, you will only know that blame game doesn't really work, or it will not take you anywhere except keep you where you are. సో మీరు ఎంతసేపు నాకు ప్రమోషన్ రావాలి, ఆర్ ఐల్ హ్యావ్ టు బికమ్ దిస్, ఆర్ ఐల్ హ్యావ్ టు డూ దిస్, ఇవన్నీ చెయ్యాలి అని అనుకొని యూ స్టార్ట్ డూయింగ్ అ బ్లేమ్ గేమ్, యూ విల్ స్టే వేర్ ఎవర్ యూ ఆర్. సో ట్రై జర్నలింగ్ అండ్ సీ how it helps. Career tips, like I've said, number one, first thing, don't do blame game. వీళ్ళ వాళ్ళు రాలేదు, వాళ్ళకు వచ్చింది, ఇది వచ్చింది. And number two, always take up the opportunity that you have in hand. సో చాలామంది ఏం చేస్తారంటే, ఎస్పెషలీ వెన్ దే ఆర్ కమింగ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ద కాలేజ్, ఆర్ వెన్ దే హ్యావ్ ఫెయిల్డ్ ఎట్ సంథింగ్, ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దే గెట్ న్యూ ఆపర్చునిటీస్, దే డోంట్ వాంట్ టు టేక్ ఇట్ బికాస్ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ దేర్ హెడ్, దే ఆర్ స్టక్ విత్ దట్ ఫెయిల్యూర్. ఆర్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫ్రెషర్స్ అయితే దే ఓన్లీ వాంట్ టు డూ వన్ థింగ్, నాకు ఆ జాబే కావాలి, నాకు విప్రోలో ఈ జాబే కావాలి, ఇంకేది వచ్చినా నేను తీసుకోను. సో ఆ మైండ్ సెట్తో ఉంటే ఏమైపోతుంది అంటే you will lose the opportunities that life is giving to you. Probably, Wiprolo job is not right for you, and somewhere in other companies job is perfect for you, or they might give you a higher package or whatever it is. But if you close your eyes, or if you shut your head and see only this way and you're not seeing left and right, it will not help. So I would rather say, take up any and every opportunity that life is giving and go with the flow and see where you land. That is number 2. And whereas complete hard work and dedication is utmost necessary, and before even that, your discipline is the first thing any and every person should have. See, you will have to, మీరు 5 o'clock లెగవాలి అనుకుంటే 5కి లెగవాలి, అంతేకాని 6కి లేచి నాకు అలారం వినపడలేదు, ఆర్ ఇది అవ్వలేదు అది అవ్వలేదు, సో ఒక 1 hour నేను ఐ పుట్ అ సిక్ లీవ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ వెల్, ఇలా రీజన్స్ ఎత్తుక్కుంటూ ఉంటే ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ వర్క్. జస్ట్ మేక్ యువర్ లైఫ్ డిసిప్లిన్, వర్క్ ఆన్ దాట్ ఫస్ట్, and then you will eventually get to working hard and then moving to a successful career path. I personally feel everybody should be very, very disciplined. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed.